Today, our topic, again, an intro to boosted group promos. This is a fun and exciting topic. We touched on this briefly last week. We were talking about some marketing strategies, and this came up briefly as one of those options, but it was really just a footnote. And so I wanted to do an entire uh, presentation on this topic because there's a lot that you can gain out of boosted promos, both as an organizer and as a participant. So there's a lot that you can get. I think I'm seeing in the chat here there might be some questions about my audio. If you can hear me, give me a thumbs up in the Zoom chat just to make sure. Okay, very good. I never look at the Zoom chat, but then it started popping up, and I don't usually do that. Very good. Okay, no problem. Appreciate that. So let's carry on. Intro to boosted group promos. All right. Here's what we're going to cover today. So first of all, what is a boosted promo? You might not be familiar with them, what they are. We're going to talk about that, kind of define them so you have an idea of what we're talking about. We're going to crunch some numbers first. This is something I like to do at the beginning to kind of give you an idea of what some of the relevant statistics are. In the case of boosted promos, obviously we're talking about things like ads and clicks and all that, and budgets and so forth. And so there's a lot of numbers to look at, and there's just a few simple things that I think will help kind of make it clear how effective it can be to run a boosted promo. Right? We're going to talk about the benefits for promo organizers and participants because everybody can benefit from boosted promos. We're also going to talk about some best practices, particularly for promo organizers, but this will also help if you're a participant who is looking for boosted promos. This is kind of what you should expect the organizer to be doing. How you build a boosted promo menu. This is probably going to be the most exciting part, the most fun part. We're going to talk about how the rubber meets the road in terms of how you are actually going to be building that ad budget, what people are contributing to, what they're getting out of boosted promo. And then we'll talk about a few notes about recruitment before we get to the Q&A at the end. And on that note, if you do have questions, you can put those in the Zoom chat. Emma is here with me today. She is one of our other author support specialists here at BookFunnel, and she will be in the Zoom chat to answer your questions. She may also mark your questions with a star. If she does so, that means we will get to it at the end of today's session in the Q&A. So, what's a boosted promo? Right? What are these things? Well, for those of you who don't know, a boosted promo is a BookFunnel group promo that is being boosted by advertising to bring additional traffic and readers to the promo. So that's that. It's being boosted with ad dollars or ad spend. Typically, this is going to involve participants contributing to an ad budget. Oftentimes on Facebook. Facebook is the most popular platform for this and probably the easiest platform to start advertising on. And this is usually set up by the organizer. So the organizer is going to have participants contribute some amount and then take those funds and use that toward an ad budget that is going to send readers from Facebook to the promo there, and then presumably to find everybody's books in the promo. Contributions to ad budgets may be optional or required. So that's something that you'll want to pay attention for if you're looking to join these promos. But organizers shouldn't be profiting from these promos. And that's something we're going to talk about again here in a little bit when we get to best practices. The idea is that 100% of the contributions should go toward ads. This is not a way for organizers to make money off of being a promo organizer, right? That being said, right, I will say something kind of unrelated, or not unrelated, but an aside to this. If you have a really great promo organizer and you want to, send them a coffee or something like that, by all means, promo organizers do great work and they help out a lot. And so if you feel appreciation, right, and you wanted to send a gift to a promo organizer, of course, you'd be free to do that. But that's different from a boosted promo, right? This is something totally different, right? If you're contributing to a boosted promo, you're contributing to that ad budget. So anything that is for that purpose should go to those ads, right? So let's talk dollars and cents when it comes to boosted promos and crunch a few numbers here. I have a few stats that I want to bring up that I think are relevant to kind of get some perspective here. So the average author brings about 30 clicks to a promo when they participate. This is an average. So there are authors who bring way more. There are authors who bring less, but around 30 is the average. And that average might actually be creeping up a little bit higher. But that's a good rule of thumb for like a minimum assumption, right? If you have 100 authors, or let's say 10 authors, well, let's keep the math simple, right? You have 10 authors and each of them is going to bring about 30 clicks. Well, that's each of them bringing 30 readers, presumably from their mailing list. That's about 300 readers or so from those 10 authors. You can obviously do the math depending on the size of a promo. Depending on what genre you're in, you can be in some pretty big promos, and that can bring in a lot of readers on its own. So this is why promos work in the first place, right? Because everybody's bringing in their readers from their mailing list. That's where the majority of that traffic comes from. So promos on their own, we're starting with a good foundation. But I want to use this number because when we're talking about running ads, we can kind of compare an ad that's bringing traffic to a promo with an author that's going to be bringing traffic to a promo as well. So we can kind of get an idea for what the value is in terms of dollars, right? For the amount of traffic that we're bringing. So the average cost per click on Facebook across all industries is going to be about 28 cents. Now, in my experience, that is a little high. If you have gotten if you've gotten some practice in with Facebook ads, even with a little bit of experience, a little bit of tweaking over some time, you can probably get really close to cutting that in half, under 20 cents per click. Now, it would be an entirely different webinar for us to talk about Facebook ads and Facebook ad copy and all that stuff and all the stuff that goes into getting that lower cost per click. And that might be the topic of an upcoming webinar very soon. But I don't want to get too sidetracked by that. Just understand that 28 cents, like we can say, like, okay, you can expect 28 cents, probably lower. If you do some optimizing, if you're willing to spend some time on that, or you already have experience with Facebook ads, you can definitely get under 28 cents per click. But I offer this because it's kind of I'm trying to give a fair representation, right? Your cost per click may be higher. It can vary from day to day. It can vary from different times of year. For example, we're going into quarter 4 here very soon, and there's lots of competition for ads in quarter 4. Its cost per click generally creeps up a little bit, right? But it can also be lower. And if you optimize your ads and you have some familiarity with it, right? The other thing too is if you're looking to learn Facebook ads, if this is something that you are trying to figure out and you want to learn how to do Facebook ads, this is kind of a great way to do it, right? Because number one, you're advertising something that's, you're advertising maybe free books if it's a newsletter promo. It's very easy to advertise that, right? And you're getting other folks to contribute to that budget. Now, you want to spend their dollars wisely. I'm not suggesting that you should have them fund your crash course on learning Facebook ads. That's not what I'm suggesting, but it can help you get more practice in on your Facebook ads too, right? But 28 cents is on average what you can expect. And if you get less than that, well, hey, you're above average, right? Or below average. Below average in this case would be better. We don't typically think of it that way, but anyway, $1 a day for an ad budget is, I mean, it's as low as you can go in some cases on Facebook, but even $1 a day, what I'm trying to get across here is it can bring an additional 100 readers to a promo. just by spending $1 a day. And it wouldn't be that difficult to maybe throw in $1 a day yourself or have other authors contribute that amount in various ways. Now, I'm not suggesting that you necessarily have charge everybody $30 to join your promo. Maybe you do. We'll talk about some of that stuff here in a little bit and how much you should charge for certain things, right? In your promo. When we're talking about a promo menu, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But even spending $1 a day, so about $30 over the course of a promo, can bring in some noticeable traffic. Again, about approximately 100 readers. But if your cost per click is lower, that could be even more than 100 readers. It really depends, right? So I'm not wanting you to think of, you're not aiming for like $1,000 budget for your boosted promo. Right? If you're doing your very first boosted promo, $1 a day is what you should aim for. Try to get to $1 a day at least. You'll probably get a little bit more than that, and that's great. And then spend that money, obviously judiciously, in that time frame. But that's all you would need to add a little bit extra to your boosted promos. So these budgets don't have to be huge, right? So everybody gets a boost when you do a boosted promos. Let's talk about the benefits for organizers first, and then we'll talk about the benefits for participants. So running boosted promos is going to keep your promos fresh, and it keeps authors coming back to your future promos as well. If authors know, hey, so-and-so does boosted promos, and that usually gets me better results, or I notice some better results from those because there's new readers coming in. They're going to be more likely to join your promos in the future. It makes it easier to organize them, and it makes it easier to get more authors in there. And that will help you too, because presumably your books are in the promo as well. Everybody gets a boost. Again, I'm going to be revisiting that here when we're talking about boosted promos. Everybody is getting a boost from this. It can benefit your reputation score as well, as your ads will likely be pointed to your own tracking link, right? And we'll talk about participants and their tracking links too, but it can be a benefit to you. I recommend that you still share your boosted promos with your newsletter, but it seems pretty logical that you're going to be sharing it through your tracking link. You'll be getting some extra clicks on that. It's a benefit, a perk, you could say, of being the one who's organizing the promo. Nothing wrong with that. It's totally fine for you to use your tracking link for that purpose, and that can boost your reputation on BookFunnel. Right? So that may be helpful to you, or you may find benefit in that. Readers are also more, and this is going to take a few steps to kind of understand this one, but readers are more likely to click on ads with multiple books versus ads that feature only one. Why I bring this up as a benefit, because you might be considering running ads toward your reader magnet, for example. This is something that's come up. It came up last week too in our marketing strategies webinar. We were talking about advertising and combining that with your reader magnet. Well, if you're advertising one free book or one short story on Facebook, readers are a little less likely to click. It's one book, one story. They're having to give their email. But if you are going to be promoting an entire slew of books, right? Maybe 20, 30 books, right? There could be a lot, could be in some cases 100 or more books in there. Readers are more likely to click. And that means more readers are going to show up to the promo, and your books are going to be in there as well. You are essentially offering more value by teaming up with other authors. And this can actually be a way for you to get your reader magnet in front of more readers, and might be more effective than running ads directly to just your reader magnet. So see this as an alternative to running ads toward your reader magnet. Obviously, again, everybody's getting a boost. All the other authors are going to get a boost out of that as well. And of course, keep in mind, this is presuming that this is a newsletter promo. If you're running a boosted post with a sales promo, you can definitely do that too, but that's not necessarily going to be giving away free books. that's maybe a caveat to this last note. It's a little different if you're going to be doing a boosted sales promo than if you're going to be doing a boosted newsletter promo, right? The benefit that I don't really have listed here, of course, but the benefit of a boosted sales promo is, well, hey, people are going to sell some books. So there's a chance to make that money back on the back end. Now, benefits for participants, and a lot of these are going to overlap in a lot of ways, because obviously all the benefits for organizers, all the things that benefit organizers are really going to, for the most part, benefit participants as well, or apply to them as well. You're going to get your books in front of new readers who you may not have otherwise gotten them in front of. They might not have discovered you if not for that. Ads will help bring in new readers. And these are readers who may have never even seen a BookFunnel promo before, but they're going to show up, find your book. You might not have found them otherwise. Again, they might not have even found your book if you were running ads, depending on how you were running them, right? They're going to be clicking on something that's a bundle of books, something like that. That's going to be more enticing, and you can do your best to stand out from the crowd. Now, I should also note here one thing, because this is something that does come up. We get authors who will ask this, and so I feel like this is relevant. We're going to make a little pit stop here. Authors who participate in lots of promos or are consistent with their promos will often find when they're brand new to group promos, they get especially newsletter promos, they get a big boost in new subscribers from those promos early on. Right, that's what you'll typically see. However, there's kind of a honeymoon phase, and then that will slow down, and the number of new subscribers that you'll get from participating in the same number of promos, again, being consistent, is going to diminish. There's diminishing returns, essentially. And that's because there's kind of an ecosystem with BookFunnel promos. And there are readers that stick around and they're subscribed to probably multiple authors who share BookFunnel promos, and they've probably gotten your book already. They're already on your list, and they're already on that other author's list. And so when you're brand new, you can get quite the boost in new subscribers, but then that can trail off. Now, there's still going to be a steady stream of new readers coming in, but participating in boosted promos is one way, right, to address that, because there's going to be new readers coming in from outside the existing BookFunnel ecosystem. So it also helps keep the whole ecosystem healthy for all the other authors in your genre, and will help make promos at large more productive for everybody. To continue on here with a list of benefits, this can be simpler than running your own ads as a participant, especially if that's something you struggle with. If you tried Facebook ads before, it just didn't work, or maybe you don't have the budget to throw money at your reader magnet, but you want to get it in front of some readers, you want to run some ads to it, you could join a boosted promo and contribute to that. Obviously, trusting the organizer, it might take some searching to find a good organizer, one who's a good fit, one who does a good job. But you can obviously save yourself some time and maybe some struggle there if that's easier for you, or maybe you find it difficult, or maybe you don't have a huge budget and you're wanting to kind of make things work, right? That's a benefit for participants. That, of course, can benefit organizers to a degree when you're talking about like everybody joining in and contributing to the budget. But as the organizer, you need to know your Facebook ads. So that's something that wouldn't apply to the organizer exactly. It can also benefit your reputation in certain circumstances. I mentioned this for organizers. We're going to discuss this in a bit when we get to the boosted promos menu. Something that I do recommend organizers offer is a way for participants to get some extra clicks on their tracking links as well. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. This might not always be the case, but in certain circumstances, it can help. And it's fair. I mean, so you guys know, the way BookFunnel sees it, right? If you're contributing ad dollars to bring in more readers to a promo, perfectly fine. for you to get some extra clicks on your reputation score for that promo, BookFunnel's not bothered by that, right? So some organizer best practices before we go any farther, because I'm sure some of you are thinking, well, like, what if the worst case scenario happens and all this stuff? And I'm sure for some of you, you're thinking about all these things. So I have a few key points here, and by no means is this exhaustive. There's definitely some other things that could be brought up, should be mentioned. But for starters, and I've mentioned this already, you shouldn't be, as the organizer, in it for the money. You're not looking to profit from boosted promos. 100% of the contributions from other authors should go to boosting the promo, to running ads. Now, you do have to protect yourself here a little bit. So, for example, if you have an ad budget of $100 on Facebook, you may overspend on that budget slightly. Facebook will not always, it will sometimes spend a little bit more than you expect. So if you buffer that by about 5%, you should be fine. I don't think anybody's going to worry about that, right? It's also possible that you have a $100 ad budget and Facebook only spends $95 and you're left with $5 after that. And so, yes, there's a possibility that there's some little, scraps left on the table at the end of the day. And you should obviously protect yourself. You don't want to wind up with an ad that overspends significantly, right? Where maybe the other authors have contributed $100, let's say, but you wind up spending $200 and you weren't planning on that, and it's an unplanned expense. So yeah, don't, you have to protect yourself, obviously. Some of that is making sure you set up your ads properly to not exceed certain budgets and so forth. But understand there's going to be some variance. But outside of that, you shouldn't be profiting from the boosted promos that you're running. You should be transparent with your participants as well. Make sure you provide them updates. I would recommend providing updates before the promo starts. This can be shortly before it starts. So you don't have to, be sending an update every week, but send an update before the promo starts. Let everybody know, hey, here's the approximate budget. If you want to contribute some more, you can, or what have you. Maybe share some of the ad images that you're planning to use and that sort of thing. And then during the promo, also provide some updates. This is where you might want to provide some weekly updates on how the ads are going, what the cost per click is, that sort of thing. How much information you share here may also vary on how curious some of the authors are. They might want to know, but generally speaking, you want to give them an idea of how much traffic is coming in, and even show receipts, right? So maybe sharing links to screenshots or something like that to show that, yeah, you do have the ads up and running. You can see the ad spend here. Not something you would need to do on a daily basis. You don't need to babysit this, but probably a weekly update would be a good idea. And then after the promo has finished, again, this is a good time to provide just kind of a recap. Here's how it went for everybody. Hope you got something out of it, and I hope you join maybe one of my future boosted promos, something like that, right? To give everybody kind of a summary of how it went. When you're collecting funds, you should use a reputable service. PayPal and Venmo are the two that I recommend. They're very easy to use. Lots of people have them. It's easy to send money back and forth, right? If somebody sends you money for a promo and they have to drop out for some reason, you can easily send money back to them. Just makes it very simple. Excuse me. I would make sure, do not ask for personal or financial information. If you're a participant, they shouldn't be asking you for your credit card number, debit card, shouldn't be asking you for your last 4 digits of your social security number, right? Some of those obvious things. They shouldn't be asking for that sort of information. Really, they should just be telling you as the participant, here's where you can send me money, right? That's pretty much it. You are allowed to include that information as the organizer in the description of the promo. So, for example, a link to your PayPal or Venmo where they can send you money, right? Or your username in some cases is probably the easiest. And that way they can just easily find that. You don't have to make it hard for them to have to like email you and that sort of thing. You can include that in the description of the promo. And that way it's up to the participant. They just have to go either to, PayPal, Venmo, whatever it is, and send you that money. You should also keep good records. A Google form is highly recommended to collect information from your participants so you can refer back to it later. This will make more sense when we're talking about the menu, the boosted promo menu, because you might have authors contributing in different ways, and they might be getting some perks out of that. And you obviously want to deliver on those perks for those authors. So it's important that you keep good records. A Google form just makes sense. And there's a place for you to include that actually in your promo details when you're creating your promo. So I highly recommend that you use something like that to collect some extra information, particularly about what it is they're contributing to, because there's different ways that authors can contribute to a promo. And that's going to be this promo menu that we're about to talk about, right? So providing different options to your participants, like I said, is a way to increase participation and your overall ad budget. It's also, it makes it easy for participants to know what they have to spend, what they're getting in return. So I have some ideas for you that I'm going to show you. The idea here is that you can choose some of these options that are that maybe you like. And when you create your promo, you offer these as a menu to select from for your participants so they can choose how they want to contribute to the boosted promo. So first off, a minimum buy-in. So a minimum buy-in of around $5 to participate is going to ensure a healthy ad budget. It doesn't have to be $5. It could be more. It could be less. It might depend on the size you want the promo to be. It might depend on the length of the promo as well. If you're running a month-long promo, $5 probably about right. Is it going to be longer than that? Right? Are we going to be doing a promo that it's going to be running for 90 days or longer? Right? There are some promos on the promos board that also run for a long time, or they run for a whole year. There's some promos like that out there as well. And so, yeah, maybe then it should be a little bit more than $5. Kind of up to you. $5 I give just as baseline ballpark, right? Keep in mind that this is going to probably result in fewer participants if you have a minimum buy-in. This is essentially making it required that they contribute. There are going to be some authors that don't want to do that, and they're not going to join your promo. They would have otherwise, but just keep that in mind. It's probably going to reduce the overall size of the promo, but that's not necessarily a problem. You're going to be making up for that in ad spend and the traffic that's coming from those ads, hopefully, and then some, compared to those authors that are choosing not to participate. Right. The next option is a banner image spot. And what I mean by this is, say you have authors chip in an extra $5. This might be on top of their minimum buy-in, or if it's optional for them to have to chip in, maybe this is something extra they can do, right? But they will get featured in the promo banner image, right? You can make a banner image relatively easy in Canva. It's a header that goes at the top of the promo. And if you feature books there, authors will use that in their newsletters and so forth. And they'll share that image around there. So authors will want to be featured in that banner image. And it does make a difference. The books that are featured in the banner image, we're talking about newsletter promos, they tend to get more claims. All books, whether it's sales promos or newsletter promos that are featured in a banner, do tend to get more views in a promo as well. It can depend on the cover a lot. It really can. And I recommend that you include like a caveat that, you have to approve the cover, or it has to be a good fit, because you don't want somebody to Maybe their cover is, I don't mean to be judgmental here, folks, but there are different levels of covers, and it's not that those aren't good books, right? But if there are covers that would sell the promo better and would be a better fit for the banner spot, or really cover maybe isn't up to the professional standard that you're looking for, right? Then you should reserve the right to maybe reject that, right? So maybe include a note about that there as well. But otherwise, you can kind of just leave it open and folks can contribute. And I recommend you offer, 3 to 5 spots in that banner image. Depending on the length of the promo, this is something that can change, right? Maybe it's 3 to 5 spots for the month, and then the next month, if your promo is lasting longer than 30 days, you can offer different spots to different authors. So you can do that as well, right? Now, the features and the top spot. So these are books that are toward the top of the promo. As the organizer, you have the ability to feature books and arrange them as you want. You can actually move them around and arrange them so that a certain book shows up at the top. You also have the ability to format the landing page so that the top book has a larger book cover or appears larger on the landing page. So this is just as an example. You could charge $10 for the top spot in the promo or $5 to be featured, right? So up higher on the promo, right? Again, this could be instead of the minimum buy-in, right? You don't have to do the minimum buy-in. You could do this instead, or you could charge this in addition to, right? So if you have minimum buy-in, this could be an option for some authors, right? So maybe everybody has to chip in $5. And if you want to be on the top spot for the month, then you're going to chip in an extra 10, right? And you see how, some authors, they get to choose whether or not that's something they want to contribute to. They don't have to, but they have the option to do it, and some will spring for it. And they will probably benefit from it a little bit more so because they're going to be at the top of the promo. But at the same time, right, everybody else is still going to get a boost from it as well. So it's still helping everybody, but that author is probably going to get a few extra little perks from it. So that would be a good thing to do. Now, this is controversial, but I have evidence on this one. The footer spot, that is the very, very bottom of the promo, and this is sometimes the bottom 2 or 3 books, is also a very lucrative spot. Now, people don't think it is. This is a secret, folks, and you're only going to hear this here. What readers do, what reader behavior is on a promo page, they'll show up and they'll look at the top few books, they'll scroll down, look maybe the first few rows, and then as they're scrolling, they're looking for a cover that's going to stand out to them. And the only things that are going to make them stop is if they see a cover that just really pops and they go, oh, wow, I'm going to check this book out. And they stop, or they hit the bottom of the page. Now, there's always a bottom of the page. And when they hit the bottom of the page, there's going to be books there. And they're going to be looking at those books. And they're going to probably look at them a little bit longer than they would look at the other ones that they scrolled past. So in a bizarre twist, probably the second best spot, if you're not at the very top, is to be at the very bottom, to be the very last book or in that bottom row. Now, this sounds bizarre. And you might have had, right, maybe you've had the opposite experience. Keep in mind, a lot of promos, the organizer will randomize the book covers. So oftentimes these benefits are random. And everybody who shows up to the promo, it'll be different. A different book will be up here at the top, a different book will be down at the bottom. But the organizer also has the option to manually sort them. Now, I think it might be a tough sell if you're an organizer to be asking people to contribute to the footer spot at the very bottom row. Your mileage may vary, but it's a thought. And while we're on the topic of how book covers are organized in the promo, I thought I would mention it because I've seen it. I have the evidence of it myself. They get to the very bottom and they'll spend more time looking at those books there at the bottom too. So again, maybe that's where you put your books. I don't know. As the promo organizer, you have some options there. But just generally speaking, right, you can get authors to contribute in this way. This is my favorite one. Set it and forget it. That's what I like to call this. Note, this is an advanced option, so this is not for every promo organizer. Essentially, what you're going to be doing, authors will contribute a little bit more, a little bit extra, depending on the length of the promo, 15 to 30 bucks, right? And you're going to run a separate ad through their tracking link. That means they will have to provide you with their tracking link. So they'll have to, that's why you'd want a Google form, right? Right? They'll provide you with their tracking link and you run an ad through that link. You can do this fairly easily by just duplicating an ad you've already created, right? So if you've got an ad ready to go, you can duplicate it and just point it at a different link. There's also some other ways where you can use, there's a service called Genius Link that I like to use that allows you to essentially functions like Bitly for those of you who are familiar, but after they click on that link, it allows you to decide where they go and you can split traffic between different links. That's even more advanced. We can save some of that for the Q&A if people have questions, but there's ways to do it that way, or probably the easiest is just run a separate ad and use that author's contribution as the budget for that ad. So they contributed $30 maybe. That's, about $1 a day, and run it through their tracking link. This is going to offset their need to share the promo. So that might be a convenience for them. And it's going to generate clicks for them as well. So it's going to benefit their reputation. So this is what I was talking about earlier. And you will have authors who are interested in this. And it'll be something that they're willing to pitch in for because they're like, yeah, I'm still going to share the promo, but yeah, I'd like to get the extra clicks. And yeah, maybe it would be nice to not have to worry too much about that promo and it getting all the clicks from my newsletter, for example. There are authors out there who might be in that position. So you can help run that ad for them. And if you have great Facebook ad chops too, right, you're probably going to be running a more effective ad than they might have been able to run on their own if they're not as familiar with Facebook ads. Right. Now, a couple notes here on recruiting for your BookFunnel boosted promos, and then we're going to get to the Q&A here. I'm sure we have plenty of questions. I see the chat is pretty lively. And we can go back over all this stuff as needed here, folks. So in the Q&A, we can definitely go back and review if you have questions on anything. But first off, there's the promos board, right? You got to post them there. So post regular boosted promos on the promos board. Regular promos are going to be the most effective, right? If you're posting them regularly, you don't just want to do a one-off. Maybe it's not necessarily something you do every month. That might be a lot. You might be thinking, oh, that's a lot of organization and managing everybody's money, but maybe do it once a quarter, or maybe do a longer promo that's running for 90 days. And that way you're only recruiting once every 90 days instead of recruiting every month. That can be a lot. Base it off of your schedule. But you want to include clear details in the promo description and title. BookFunnel has a checkbox that allows you, to check and say that this promo may require authors to contribute money, or that it does require authors to contribute money. You should make sure those boxes are checked to your liking, and then probably include something in the title. You are perfectly fine to use the word boosted. Right? That's a word that I recommend you use. There's going to be authors looking for these promos on the dashboard with that terminology in particular. There are some tools that we do want to implement as well to make them a little bit more visible that we're working on. But generally speaking, the best thing you can do is include something in the title and then in the promo description where you can add all the details about the promo. Make sure you're clear. That's where you would communicate maybe what the minimum buy-in is. Is it required? Is it optional? What other things are on the menu for those authors to choose from in order to contribute? Then there's the BookFunnel Promos Facebook group. For those of you who don't know, we'll get a link dropped to the chat here sooner or later. Either I'm not looking at the chat right now, so Emma might drop it in there now, or we might drop it in here before the end of today's session. But it's a group specifically for promo organizers on BookFunnel. Other authors are in there sharing their promos. It's a great place for you to find promos that are a good fit for you. And it's a way you can, again, find other authors who might be interested in joining your promo. Support can also help. BookFunnel admins have the ability to resend notifications for your promo to authors who might be interested. So authors will set their promo settings and they receive emails about their promo, sometimes a daily digest. This is usually based on the recruitment start date of your promo. So if you set a recruitment start date of August 28th, that's today, well, at 10 a.m. Central Time, an email goes out to any authors who have set up their promo settings so that they're notified of new promos in that genre or subgenre. So whatever date you have as your recruitment date, that's when those emails will go out. But BookFunnel admins can resend those notifications for you. So if it's getting close to when your promo is starting and you'd like to see a few more authors join, you can just contact BookFunnel support and request that it gets resent. This is something that we really try to do only once per promo, unless there's some sort of extenuating circumstance. So this isn't something that you can like every day send a request to have it resent. We're not gonna spam everybody, but we can do that for you. And if it's a longer running promo, maybe you have a really long recruitment time. Maybe your recruitment is like in some cases, I know I myself, I post my promos way in advance. So I have promos posted on the board that are starting in January. For example, if you had a promo that's way out in advance and you contacted us once a month and asked us to resend it, probably not going to be a problem. But that's fine, right? And that can help get the word out there to some extra authors. So we're going to go to our Q&A section here, answer some questions from you folks. Let's see. Kelly's here too. Kelly's one of our other author support specialists. Oops. I'm clicking on the there we go. I should have. All right. Emma, Kelly, you should be unmuted now.
Okay, my caveat is chat has been jumping, so I'm sure I've missed some stuff.
Sure.
So
We can take some time and double back. That's no problem.
yeah, so if you think I've missed your question, just drop it again or,
Yeah.
reword it. Okay, but
Yeah.
let's
We are
start at the
human,
beginning.
folks.
And you may have already clarified this, but this was one of the first questions. Are we talking about a boosted post or an actual Facebook ad?
Okay, fair enough, right? Because yeah, there's some terminology overlap there. I didn't mean to create confusion. It could be either one. Could be either one. You could run a full-on Facebook ad, or you could do a Facebook boosted post. All right, so that's the terminology that Facebook uses. BookFunnel refers to any promo that has having ads pointed at it as a boosted promo. Whether you are running those ads as a Facebook ad or as a Facebook boosted post, or maybe you're advertising somewhere else entirely, right? Maybe you're advertising on Reddit. Maybe you took out an ad in the New York Times, whatever it happens to be a boosted post. Right, that or a boosted promo. Geez, I can't even keep it straight. A boosted promo. Yes. Yeah, it could be a Facebook boosted post. Those are pretty simple to set up if you're new to Facebook ads. And then if you're more familiar, then yeah, you can do a full-fledged Facebook ad. And you have a few more settings and things like that that you can control and probably going to get optimum results that way. But simple Facebook boosted posts can still work, right? Even if there's a relatively low budget. But yeah, not exclusive to Facebook boosted posts, to clarify. It's a good question.
All right. He said boosted and didn't get as much exposure. All right. Brigida, I'm sorry, I know I'm butchering your name, mentioned that she had a one-on-one with a Facebook ad rep. Um, and the ad rep mentioned Boosted is different from regular ads and doesn't get as much exposure.
Mhm.
Has this changed? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it'll depend on the ecosystem with Facebook advertising at any given time. So uh, uh, this is definitely true, and there's but there's a couple reasons why they might be saying that as well. Um, the I'm not trying to be too cynical, but Facebook wants you to run ads, right? They're going to steer you in that direction. Does that probably mean there's also going to be more traffic? Sure. But does that mean that boosted posts are pointless? I don't think so. If you are new to Facebook ads, I think it's a simple way to get started, and you can kind of just get familiarized with it all. But yeah, if you're familiar with it, I would run a full-fledged ad versus a boosted post. But again, keep in mind when I say boosted promo, I'm not necessarily meaning a Facebook boosted post. It could very well be a Facebook ad, and that's totally fine.
And along that same vein, Melody is asking for more details on, oh my God, my glasses. I'm guessing boosted posts don't cost as much as Facebook ads.
Well, I mean they cost the same if your budget's the same, but um, I think and the cost per click can be comparable in certain circumstances from my experience.
Mine too, yeah.
If you have a very small budget, sometimes a boosted post is just a little simpler, and there's you can kind of uh, uh, tweak it depending on what you're looking for. I think the main advantage to doing a boosted post, there are probably some other ones out there, but the main advantage is going to be that it's just simple if you're getting started and you haven't done Facebook ads before. It would be the easiest place to start to just get, okay, I'm doing my first, because you can do it right from your Facebook page. You just click the boost button. Facebook will usually show it there, and it opens up a pop-up, and you can change your settings, and it's usually pretty quick and easy, and you don't have to fiddle with ads manager as much when you're doing a boosted post. And then you still want to go to ads manager and look at it and see how it's doing and keep tabs on it, but you do have a lot more options when you're doing just setting it up as a typical Facebook ad. So your mileage may vary. But yeah, if we're just strictly talking about Facebook ads versus Facebook boosted posts, again, that's not necessarily either one could boost a promo. Uh, I'd say a boosted post is a great one for beginners just to get started, get your feet wet with advertising on Facebook and see what it's like. That would be my 2 cents.
And CD is asking about ad creative, I think. When doing this for separate tracking links, would I set the ad graphic to be the promo header or to be something general like a romantic couple or the book covers?
General is going to be better. General is generally sorry. General is going to be better in almost all cases. So even a stock photo that's that's strongly signals the genre that uh, that you're in, that the promo is for, is going to do better than an image with multiple book covers. It's just readers just scroll past that stuff, or Facebook users, they just scroll past when they see you'll see like a mock-up. Now there are exceptions. It's not always the case. But generally speaking, uh, a stock photo, or if you just took the cover art and not like none of the title and author information, right? So you might even ask authors to contribute in that way and offer their artwork, because some of their book covers might have great artwork. Take all of the typography and everything away and just use their artwork. You can use multiple images in a Facebook ad too. And Facebook will show them to different users, and that allows you to see which images are maybe generating more clicks, and you can make adjustments there. But overall, right, using just something generic and then relying on the text that's, the headline and etc. Putting the text there instead of on the image is generally going to perform better. Did I answer that one fully? I think there was was there two parts to that one?
Uh, no, I know it was romantic couple. Yeah, whether or not to
Okay.
use the ad banner or book covers
Yeah, yeah.
or their own graphics.
Right. Generally, any image with text on it, it's just a little too busy. And so there are exceptions. There are ways to make it work, but it's not something that somebody wants to stop scrolling and look at and say, "Oh, what's this?" Because they have to do that before they'll read anything. And so if they're scrolling and they just see text on an image, they're going to keep scrolling because the text is going to stand out more than the image does. I mean, if you're just scrolling through Facebook yourself, you'll probably notice, if you notice your own behavior, if you're on social media, that you're going to tend to gravitate towards visuals first, and that's what's going to make you stop, and then you read the text. We tend to kind of ignore text in those settings. We tend to skim past that. So if there's text obscuring the image in any way, it's going to reduce the effectiveness of the image. Is the idea. Again, there are exceptions, but generally that's what I've seen in my own ads. That's what many other advertisers say, even outside of authors advertising their books. So you can probably bet on that. Yeah, a general picture of if it's romance, which it's suggesting, maybe a stock photo of a couple, right, in love, right, or whatever, right, whatever is appropriate. I write science fiction and fantasy, so for me, it's like a spaceship and a robot, and that's this kind of stuff that works. So, but it does need to very strongly signify or signal genre, any image that you use. So it shouldn't be so generic that it's unclear what it is. It should be very clear. Oh, this is about dragons and fantasy and wizards. Or, oh, this is about, like I said, spaceships and whatnot. Or this is, oh, it's like, is it a horror promo? It should be very clear that it's a horror, right? Because you have a specific uh, readership, or, audience that you're looking for, and they're going to respond to different imagery. So,
Okay, we've had a couple of recent questions that are all similar, and I think need some clarification. Two parts, can you boost a post with your own tracking link for any promo? Do you need permission? And if you are the organizer, what tracking link do you use?
right. You don't need permission. BookFunnel. So here's the thing: BookFunnel doesn't care where the clicks come from on your tracking links, so long as they're legitimate, right? So you're sharing with your newsletter, you're sharing with, you're posting it on social media, or you're running advertising to it. You're still bringing traffic, and that's what BookFunnel wants to see. Now, obviously, there are I will say one note on this. BookFunnel does care that the traffic is real. And we can tell when it's not. So don't get any ideas about, manufactured clicks. I would highly advise you against that. And we can tell, and that's a violation of BookFunnel terms. So I have to put that out there. We're talking about clicks. I said, oh yeah, no, BookFunnel doesn't care. Well, we do care about that. They do have to be real clicks, right? But we don't care what the source of those real clicks are. So did you share it in your newsletter? Great. Did you post it on social media and it got a ton of clicks? Great. Usually authors are going to get more clicks from their newsletter than just posting on social media. But if, like, time is money, and you're like, well, I'd rather just spend $1 a day, running an ad toward this promo instead of putting in my newsletter, we're perfectly fine with that. BookFunnel, you do not need to ask for permission. Perfectly fine for you to do that. No problem at all. Not a problem at all. It'll generate the clicks that you need. It'll maintain a healthy reputation. It'll benefit all the other authors. It'll benefit everybody. So you're bringing readers to the promo through an ad. Great. You don't need permission for that. I did kind of touch on this to address the second question. As the promo organizer, which tracking link do you use? By default, you can use your own. There's no issue with that. Right? That's one of the perks of being the organizer. That being said, if you offer any of those menu items like I explained, like the set it and forget it, where you're going to create a separate ad with that author's tracking link, make sure you actually follow through on that and do so. You don't want to get yourself in hot water there, because that author's then kind of relying on you to get their clicks, even though it's still bringing all of that traffic in through the promo. So yeah, make sure that you're still doing doing your part in that regard as the organizer, and using their link and being honest about that. You may want to test it with them too, and just make sure that, and as the organizer, you should be able to test it yourself as long as they've provided you with their tracking link. So if you receive their tracking link through the Google form as the organizer, the promo has already started. You can see their tracking, the number of clicks they've gotten. So you can check their clicks, then click on the link that they gave you and see if it goes up by one, and it should be good, right? If you need help with that, you can contact support as well. BookFunnel support, we can get those links for you if you need to, but generally I would ask the participant to provide you with that link. But if you want us to verify that it's correct and that you're using the right link, that's something we can do for you. Generally, though, not a problem with just running the bulk of the ads through your own tracking link. You benefit because it generates clicks for you, and maybe you don't share that one in your newsletter. That's fine. But you're the one organizing the ad, and you're doing the work to bring those readers in, right? So there's a trade-off there. If you're the one bringing in the traffic, then yeah, you benefit from that a little bit, and that's okay. BookFunnel doesn't have a problem with that. We don't have a problem with that at all.
Okay. The next two questions are kind of in the same cohort. Douglas wants to know, and maybe you can demonstrate, how to find boosted promos on the group promo board. And also Pepper is asking, are there any additional settings in the promo setup process, and can you show and tell?
Sure. Okay, let me stop sharing this screen for a moment. I'm going to need a new window. Patience, folks. Is that going to give me what I need? It should. Okay. I was just questioning whether or not I needed to open the test account or my actual admin account. I usually don't like to do that. The admin account, if I can avoid it. So here we are. Let's see. All right. So on the promos board, Zoom is kind of getting in my way here. One moment, folks. Let me move that over there. Perfect. So on the promos board, let's first talk about posting a promo. I guess the first one is, how do you find them? The second one, what was the second part of that question, Emma?
Are there any additional settings when you're setting up
Yep.
the promo, and will you show us?
Yep. So promo details here, I can put in the name and all that stuff, all that good stuff here, right? Should be noted, this is not directly related, but like there's this checkbox here. If the promo is private, you're just inviting people directly. But if you scroll down, it's this under the participant requirements here, authors may have to pay money to join this promo. And then if you check that, it gives you this optional one, which is no, they must pay. It is required. It's a requirement. And then obviously I would make sure that you put in any details here in the promo description. Excuse me. This is where you can include a link to a Google form. So this is an additional requirement. When somebody joins a promo that has a link here, it will show them that link and ask them, hey, did you go check out the Google form and make sure you did that first before you join? BookFunnel can't enforce that, but we do show that to them again when they join. Right? You will have to do a little bit of moderating there and make sure that everybody has done what they're supposed to do, which again is a good reason to use a Google form. Right? But those would be the two main settings there that you'd want to use in order to make this a boosted promo, or just really to indicate that there's a requirement or an optional to contribute money to the promo. Now, as far as finding them on the promos board, this is where I'll be quite honest. BookFunnel has a couple more things we can implement to make this easier to find. Right. However, a couple things that you can do. People are going to be searching for posts like this, so I would put in boosted as the first part of maybe the first word in your promo name, right? Or maybe you can say, promo name with Facebook ad, something like that. Makes it a little bit easier when authors they're receiving the emails on a regular basis from BookFunnel that has, or on maybe a daily basis even, or based on their promo settings. Right, they're going to see in those names, oh, it's a boosted promo, or it's got a Facebook ad going along with it, or what have you. But whenever a boosted promo is posted, and you'll see here, we're scrolling through under science fiction and fantasy. We can scroll through, probably gonna have to scroll for a little bit because I don't have these settings. So you know what? I'm gonna have to search for myself, I think is what I'm gonna have to do. And you can use your browser's built-in search function. It's usually Command F. And we should find one here soon. Where did it go? Is it all the way down at the bottom of the list? Well, this is embarrassing. Here, let me do this.
I've got a couple in romance too.
Here we go. I knew they were in here because they start in September. These are two of mine. I am the organizer on these. And you'll see here it does say may require $. All right. Or if it is required, it will indicate that as well. So that is how you can also see that. So BookFunnel does add that to the end of your title, but probably a good idea to have it at the front if you really want to indicate that as the organizer. But this would be how you would find these on the dashboard. Again, there are some things that we can do on our end to make them a little bit more visible too. Implementing stuff, guys, BookFunnel is it's a big project. It is a really big project, and we are not a huge company. We've gotten a lot bigger over the last few years compared to what we used to be. But we are not a huge company. We don't have hundreds of employees working on BookFunnel. Damon Courtney, our founder, is the primary engineer and the one writing most of the code. So just keep in mind, we're aware of all the ways that BookFunnel could be better, and we love your suggestions. Just please, bear in mind that we only have so much that we can get through in a certain amount of time. BookFunnel's growing. We're going to be working on those things. And like I said, there's some things that we do want to implement to make these more visible, so they're a little bit easier to find. But in the meantime, your search function on your in your browser is going to be your best friend. And you can use that in here to find anything really. You can also look for specific organizers. You can look for specific things. But in this case, you could also just look for the dollar sign, right? That would be a great way to do this. And that's going to pull up both of these. I think in science fiction and fantasy, these might be the only ones right now. I am not trying to promote my own promos. You can join them if you want to. You do not have to. Maybe you feel more comfortable that I'm a BookFunnel admin who's running it. That's fine. Up to you, but I'm not, that's not the purpose of me pointing these out. Just I knew I could find them here to demonstrate that. There are plenty of other ones. If we go to some other genres here, oh boy, I'm having to scroll a lot, folks. My apologies. I was not trying to scroll that much, but let's look at romance, for example. And we'll use that search function again. So we got one here for printed books in romance. Now you'll see this here. This is a 99-cent promo. So they have the dollar sign there. That's not an indication that this is a boosted promo. This one here does require, so this is actually Emma is hosting this one. We are authors here at BookFunnel too, and we do use BookFunnel. So maybe that gives you some peace of mind. And we've got a few more here. Ooh, this one has a dollar sign in there for some reason. Not related though. So yeah, it looks like there's probably a few going around here. Again, today it was not our intention to promote those. Any boosted promos you find, you can join those as well or organize your own. I want to encourage you guys to do that. Obviously, I think they're a massive benefit. And I honestly think that they need to be done more often. I think it's something that doesn't happen enough. And so that's one of the reasons why we had this webinar. I think there's some education around this that I think is needed for organizers, for participants, so that we can do some more of these, because I think they really are a big benefit to everybody that's involved with them. So yes, don't be afraid or discouraged that there's maybe not a whole lot in your genre. Post one of your own, right? If you're an organizer, or just start including optional ways to boost your promos in all the ones you're already organizing. Remember, you do not have to make it a requirement. You can make it optional. So you can continue running the promos that you've been running. Just check that box and include some extra details on how they can contribute. And again, like I said, even $1 a day is going to bring some extra traffic and it's going to benefit folks. You obviously have to consider how much, the extra work involved as the organizer and taking that on. I totally understand that, but it can benefit everybody. So the purpose of this was also to really encourage them as well. So if you're an organizer, go to the promos board and post one. If you're in science fiction and fantasy, feel free to join mine. I'm running one that's a newsletter, and I'm running one that is a sales promo. They're going from September 1st through the end of the year. But I also do monthly promos, and I'm going to start making those optionally boosted as well. All of mine are optional. Emma has several. You can also join. I think some of hers are required that you contribute, and I think she manages them a little differently than I do. Each organizer might do a couple of things a little different, but for the most part, right, they're going to be mostly the same. But yeah, that's what I would do for now. I'm working on pulling the strings in the background to make them a little bit more visible, because I do think that would also help boosted posts stand out and become more accessible to authors on the promos board who are looking for them. I should also note, I don't know if I want to go into this. This is advanced. You can do this with swaps too. You can do this with swaps.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I know. I said it.
He went there.
You can do it with swaps. Um, and it's a little tricky sometimes, depending on how you do it. But you can just do your normal swaps and then say, hey, you can chip in and I'll run an ad that, so you don't, basically it's kind of like the set it and forget it. Like, hey, if you want to swap with me, I'll share your book in my newsletter or whatever. But if you'd rather just pay me and I'll run an ad right? Basically, they're going to contribute to your ad budget instead of to that's going to point towards your book instead of necessarily having to share it in their newsletter. So, hey, it's an option in swaps too. Some of the things that BookFunnel can do to also make that a little bit more visible, right? We're always looking to add more tools, folks. So if you have suggestions, I just ask that you keep it positive because we know, believe me, we know that there's improvements to be made. That it keeps us up at night. All the things that we could do to improve BookFunnel and make it even better. So I just ask if you have suggestions, right? Rather than phrasing it as a complaint, please phrase it as a nice suggestion. Just because we're probably thinking the same thing you are, but hearing from the community really does help get those features implemented. So, am I saying that you should all collectively go and email BookFunnel support and ask for a specific feature? Well, I'm not saying you shouldn't, but just do so politely, right? Anyway, what else do we have, Emma?
I think I got the main questions, but I'm also positive I may have missed any. So if I did not ask your question or relay your question, please drop it real quick.
Yeah.
And I will.
Yeah. I'm just going to go through chat here and just maybe
Yeah,
address
yeah, yeah.
things that I see. So I see Lynn said here, I'm glad you had this webinar because I saw people asking for money and backed out of promos because I wasn't sure it was legit. Yes. Yes, they are legit. Now, how do you vet an organizer? Well, if you're unsure, contact BookFunnel support. We can tell you about their full history as an organizer, how long they've been hosting and organizing promos. We can give you a good feel. If we would know, we would have all that data. If somebody's like, oh, yeah, that's maybe a little fishy. Maybe they haven't done them before. I don't know. Obviously, now that we've done this webinar, there's going to be a lot of new organizers doing these. So keep that in mind. But they should have a history either with BookFunnel. They should have be in good standing with BookFunnel, or they should be they have a lot of experience and a history hosting and organizing promos. Yeah, Emma, tell us what you do differently with your promos. I know you were running an experiment where each author was the way they contributed but was by running an ad of their own, if I'm not mistaken.
That is starting in September. Um, what I've done in the past was have authors send me $10 through PayPal, and then I would run a boosted post. As somebody has pointed out, that can become tedious. So for that method of organizing a promo, I prefer that it be a longer promo, like 90 days with a bigger budget. So
Yeah,
I have run a 90-day promo in the past, and the budget wound up being about roughly $22 per person. And the traffic that ad pulled in was significant.
yeah.
Um, that said, I have a bit of training in Facebook ads, but individually, I'm constantly throwing up boosted posts for promos I am in just as a participant,
Yep.
because honestly, we don't always have time to craft a high quality newsletter to send out every Friday. So a boosted
Are,
post takes 5 minutes and
are
it
you
gets,
are you saying something, Emma? Is there something do I need to be reading into that? No.
well, I mean, if you're, I'm, listen, I don't know about you all, but it takes me 2 hours to, craft my newsletter on Fridays. And sometimes I just don't have that time. So a boosted post takes me 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. No,
and
it's true.
yeah.
It's true. It's
And
true.
I do use my own tracking link. I'm not asking the organizer permission. They don't care.
Traffic
Um,
is traffic, right?
traffic is traffic. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. I do see Brigida said here, I ran an ad with one of the BookFunnel promos I joined to make sure I got shares and it worked out well. Good to hear that. Um, let's see. Okay, Sophia asked, I came a little late. How do people pay for these promos? Usually it's with PayPal or Venmo. The benefit of both of these, both highly reputable, easy to send money back and forth. If you have a claim to file against someone for any reason, it's relatively easy to do so as well, in either case. And it looks like Emma may have answered that one too. Let's see. Jennifer asked, it would be great to see some examples of some effective boosted posts for Facebook, Instagram. Yes, Jennifer, I think the that's something I would want to do in the context of talking about Facebook ads specifically, because I don't want to give a quick example and have everybody have to kind of infer from the example. I think it would create maybe more questions than it would actually answer. But I appreciate you asking for this. What I'm trying to say is, I think that is a webinar in and of itself. Just generic, how to make a decent Facebook post. I need to work on the title, but that should be coming up soon. That is something that I think that's a topic that we keep getting asked. And so thank you for asking, Jennifer. I would rather do that where we had like an hour or so to talk a little bit more in detail about it. And rather than just throwing up a few examples, the generic things I can say, if you're doing a boosted post or what have you, you use a generic image, avoid text in the image, keep your headlines and text and copy relatively simple. Use the important keywords for your genre, like the name of your genre. Is it a newsletter promo? You probably want to include free books in there somewhere, right? Facebook is using lots of AI targeting. It's probably the easiest way to set up these ads without having a specific audience that you've created, is to just use their AI targeting. And that's what they use to help tune the AI to who's going to engage. Oh, your boosted post mentions science fiction books, free science fiction books. Well, we have some people who have clicked on that before. That's who we're going to show it to. So include that information in the text. That would be where I'd start with just some generic advice, since I can't really provide examples in the context of this right now. Let's see.
Somebody mentioned Instagram too. When you
Yeah,
boost a post, at least in my experience, it gets served on Instagram as
you
well.
can.
Um,
So Brigitte asked, Jack, will you host boosted promos in other genres like thrillers? I would like to. I do not write in those genres, but I may host those. This is another thing that I've considered doing. Um, as to benefit everybody, is to make sure that there are opportunities for those. I have to look at what I'm able to do in terms of workload. But yes, that's something Em and I can discuss about maybe having some of these promos that are not that there aren't thriller authors and promo organizers out there that can do it themselves. If you're one of those authors, you host thriller promos, by all means, go ahead and do it. We're not trying to compete here, but if there are some of those genres that are maybe a little underserved, yeah, our team can host those for you and help organize them. Maybe that's something that we could do. I think that's something that actually that sounds like a plan. They're all already. Let's see here. David, I think this is a new one. You say to keep the ad general with image and no text, but earlier you went into depth on selling banner space for covers. Right. So the banner image, this is a good question. So the banner is useful in another context. So your ad is typically going to be on social media. It's going to be in someone's Facebook feed. And when they're scrolling through, that's a totally different behavior than, say, when they're opening an email. So they receive your newsletter and they open that email. And as they're scrolling through, they're reading that email. They're looking at that content with a different intent. On social media, somebody's scrolling through looking for something interesting. Right, they're looking for that hit of dopamine. And so they see an image that's evocative of, fantasy or romance or science fiction or thrillers or whatever it happens to be, something they're interested in, and they stop and they look and they read. that they're in a different in a different frame of mind. And so that's why generally the banner isn't going to be effective in ads and multiple book covers, because there's not something for their eyes to latch onto. When you use the banner image in your newsletter, it's different. They're opening your email purposefully and scrolling through it. They have the intent to consume that content, and they're going to be more likely to click in that context. They're not doing the same thing when they're reading your newsletter versus when they're on Facebook scrolling. Does that make sense? So the banner is having a spot in the banner is still important, because a lot of authors in the promo will use that to share it with their newsletter, right? And then when readers land on the promo landing page itself, it's going to be at the top, and it's going to be what they see first. And they're going to see the covers there and be like, oh, I got to go find that book. And they will scroll through. And I've seen the evidence for this, because I will feature books in the promos that I host in the banner image. And what I see is that those books in the banner image, they get more claims and downloads, or they get more views than the other books, right? That is how it works. So there's some other benefits to have those banner image spots, right? The banner image typically not ideal for ads, but it is ideal in other ways, and it has other benefits to it outside of that. A CD here says, sometimes I don't use a banner. I use one of the books or my book that are in the promo and have a text button that says, check out 50 plus books here. And that will get me more clicks. Yes, that is a way to do it. And you can also kind of include that as part of like the featured spot or the banner spot or whatever it is. So you can, it's a little tricky because you're sharing it in your newsletter. So you're kind of bringing the traffic, but you're like, well, hey, if you pitch in for the banner spot, I will use your book cover in my newsletter to promote the promo, which is going to get you more claims. And I'll use that, if there's 4 books that you're featuring on the banner, you do one each week or something like that. It does require some extra work on your part, but yeah. Let's see here. Rachel says, I think it's also important for organizers to properly fill out the promo info for the page. Yes. If you are an organizer, try to fill it out as best as you can with all the details that you need to provide. To continue here, for participating authors who are doing their own boosted posts, if the promo info is filled out right, the important info will be in the ad post already. You can make the promotion message more consistent and on target. And that would be good. Yes. Yes. So if organizers fill it out right, sharing on social media is easy. Yes. Organizers can add that information there. I wouldn't say it's something that you can do. It's not necessarily something that's required, but yeah, if you just want to boost the posts or boost the promos, gosh, I keep doing that. If you just want to boost the promos that you're already in, and the organizer has provided some information for that, right? Maybe some copy that you can use, that's great. However, that's not something that every organizer is going to be thinking of. So if it's a promo that isn't requiring you to go out of your way to create an ad of your own, right? That's not a requirement. Then that organizer might not have that there. You might have to kind of create some of that information yourself, the copy, finding those images and so forth. You might have to do a little extra legwork there on your own. But that's certainly something that promo organizers can think of and can use, can add that information there, because I think that would be helpful. However, boosted posts generally are going to have the organizer running the majority of those ads themselves. But yeah, if you're doing something where everybody's running their own ad, can be interesting. Emma will have to share with us some of her secrets in that regard. But I think that's everything, folks. If there's any questions that we missed, I apologize. We try to get through everything that we can in the Q&A segment, but if we did miss your questions, you can contact us directly from your dashboard. If you just go to this help icon here, you can, right here, this section here, you can put in your subject line, message body, and just ask a question and click get help. That will go directly to BookFunnel author support. And we can get in touch with you that way. If you have questions about today's session or anything, we can help you out. In addition to that, a resource for you right here on your dashboard. This video's link will take you to bookfunnel.com/videos. This is where our webinar replays will be going up. However, I should also mention that BookFunnel is on YouTube now. Well, we've been on YouTube for a while, but we're now going to be adding our webinar replays to YouTube as well. So if you prefer to use YouTube as a platform, they will be showing up there. I will be trying to get that one up on YouTube today by this afternoon. We're having some technical difficulties that might make it a little tricky for us to get it onto the bookfunnel.com/videos site right away this afternoon. Kelly, I'm not throwing you under the bus here. Okay, she's coming out and admitting it here, but yes, Kelly's having some computer issues. She's usually the one that gets them uploaded here, and so we're having to. She's not able to do the work on editing the video and so forth. So we're going to try to get it up there as soon as we can, hopefully within 24 hours, but it will be up on YouTube for sure, because I handle that side of things. So if you ever go to the YouTube channel, I'm responsible for all that stuff. Which I don't know, maybe I shouldn't have said that, because now you can say, oh, well, hey, the YouTube channel, that's why it is the way it is. No, but go check it out. Subscribe. If you just go to YouTube and search BookFunnel, we should come up. Very small number of subscribers right now, but that's fine. It's more about providing you guys the content that's helpful. And yes, Emma, I know it is my face. I'm the one that organizes these things. I should say, we're also looking at adding some additional exclusive content to the YouTube channel that will not be in these webinars. So another reason for you to subscribe to the YouTube channel, that content isn't there yet, but it is something that we plan to add there in the near future. So you don't just have to rely on webinars. You can get some other useful information, and that will also probably be me talking to you in that context as well. But we will leave it there for today, folks. Check out the YouTube channel. You'll get it sent a link tomorrow for the replay here as well, and it should be there. It'll be on YouTube a little bit sooner. And otherwise, pay attention to your email. The bulletin is how we will notify you of upcoming webinars. And so we'll have some in September that we'll be announcing soon. Likely one of those will be talking about Facebook ads as well. I'll just spoil it here for you. That's probably going to be one of our topics in September that we're going to talk about. So I think that's a topic folks are interested in. We've been talking about ads a lot. Let's actually get down to the nitty gritty and give some examples and talk about some of the basics, right? For you folks. So, all right, I'm going to leave it there, folks. Thank you for sticking around. I hope you found this session helpful, and we will see you all next time. Have a good day. Thank you for watching. Check out these other videos from BookFunnel, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.